All right, guys, what's going on? My name is Ollie Ward. Welcome back to the Ollie Ward channel. Today, I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Jer from Leeds United, The View. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, all good. All
Good.
good. International break, so surviving that part, but all good.
Yeah, well, we haven't spoken in ages. This is a bit of just a catch-up of what's going on with Leeds United because it's a bit of a weird sort of thing right now. We're doing well in the league, but some fans aren't happy. We're just going to talk all about it. Remember to get your comments in. Smash that like button if you want to see more videos with me and Joe, me and any other LUFC content creator. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to try and hit 20,000 subscribers this year. So get down there right now and subscribe. And yeah, so Joe, I want to start off quickly just by saying, where's your head at? How are you enjoying this season so far? Let's start positively. You look at Leeds United, third in the table, going into the second international break of the season. How are you feeling?
Very much still in the mix. That's the important part. We're still within touching distance. As long as we can keep it within one result of the top, you're always okay with that. You've got a chance with this side. You've got a nice run of games coming up after the international break outside of maybe one or two little possible banana skins, but then we've got a very strong run of home games as well coming into Christmas. So I think Leeds are in a really good position. I think coming out of the international break is when you want to see Leeds make the move properly. And this, we want to see Leeds put back-to-back wins on the board. We've only done it once this year with a back-to-back. So more of them will be needed. You know, if you look at Sheffield United, 4 wins in a row right now. You looked at Sunderland, they've drawn their last 3, but before them, they had back-to-back wins. We've only had one batch of back-to-back games, just the 2 games. So Leeds will want to start doing that. The home form's been fantastic. We're joint top of the best home form in the league with Watford and with Sunderland. And away is where the improvements will be needed. We've dropped 11 points away from home. We're 5th in the away table. So that's the area for me. If Leeds can start turning a few of the 2 losses they had, they became draws. It's 2 additional points. You're top of the table. If they can turn a couple of draws into wins, they'll easily get back to the top. So yeah, you want to see Leeds just break the hoodoo from last season of every time we got into the automatics, we fell straight back out. And this year we've gotten in once and we've fallen straight back out. So we want to get in there, stay there and start to push on. And I think that will scare a couple of teams in the division as well. But they've definitely got the legs to go on a run. Want to start seeing it happening now.
Recently there's just been sort of this opinion of fans that Leeds United are boring right now. Leeds United are boring, performances are boring, we're getting results. And I keep saying about it in my videos, points over performances. But sometimes, say, for example, the Millwall game, the performance was terrible. You get no points. You look silly. So this whole Leeds United a boring narrative, Farke tactic narrative, I'm not asking you Daniel Farke in or Daniel Farke out. I just want to say, do you kind of understand where some fans are coming from? Or do you think, shut up and get on with it, really?
It's personal preference. And that's to be clear, because there's a lot of Leeds fans will quote Marcelo Bielsa at every single outing, but then they won't quote him when he talks about the death of football, and that's the slow, methodical tempo. He hates it. But they won't quote that when they're talking about Bielsa, because that doesn't fit in with the story that we're trying to tell. But I think you can criticize this team, and I think there's areas of this team that should be criticized, and I think you can praise it as well in equal measure, without having to fall into any bracket of being a Daniel Farke in or a Daniel Farke out. We talked about this off air, and you said if you look at Manchester United fans, that's all that they are. They're one or the other. They're in or they're out. It's polarized. It's tribal. It's this stuff. And tribalism in any sport for me is the worst thing you can have. But I think you've got to be able to look at your team with pride, but you've also got to look at it with a critical eye and expect better when the better is needed. And we've had opportunities this year where it should have been better. The football style is slow, and I think the boring comment comes because we know that this team has gears and can go up through them. First 10 minutes against Watford, phenomenal. First half against Plymouth, phenomenal. But you know in your heart that if Leeds are 3-0 up at half time, we're going to just pass the ball around in the second half and probably not push on and get a fourth. Or if we're against Watford 2-0 up inside 10 minutes and we drop back then, and Ramazani coming out could be the reason, but you've got to find other ways to kickstart your team. So I think that's where that comes from. I mean, comments that Farke has made about Guilavogüi's performance, about him, going on to be Makelele, but putting in a Zidane performance. And that wasn't what he was asked to do. He was asked to go on and kill the game at 1-0. So he was happy with a 1-0 home win against QPR. And I think you've got to be a little bit more ambitious in certain games. And I think there's other games then where a more pragmatic approach makes perfect sense. But at the moment, I think the first 2 games of the season when we conceded a host of goals, I think may have rattled the cage a little bit, and Leeds have decided to be a little bit more pragmatic. But if you're a person that just wants points and doesn't care about watching the football, and as someone said yesterday, if you're a fan that checks the score at 5 o'clock, performance is irrelevant to you. But if you're in the stadium every single week, you want to be entertained. Football is supposed to be an entertaining game. It's an entertainment industry. And again, if you look at what Marcelo Bielsa says about football, you should be entertaining your fans as well. And there's no reason why you shouldn't expect both results and performances. And for me, the only thing that's lacking from the Leeds performance is speed. It's just tempo, but it was there last year as well. And if they increase the tempo of how they pass the ball, and again, I clarified that by saying I'm not saying sprint around like headless chickens for 90 minutes. I mean, move the ball quickly and try and get into areas fast and reduce the amount of passes. If you look at the EFL Championship stats for this season, 2 of the top 3 players for passes this year are Pascal Struijk and Joe Rodon, which suggests Leeds are doing quite a lot of this.
Yeah.
So that's the area I think that a lot of fans that are saying boring, that's where that's coming from, where you see opportunities to go forward and we don't. We come back and we check across, or how many times this year have we gone back to our goalkeeper? But ultimately, you don't have to be one or the other. You can be a person who wants to see really good performances, and you can be somebody who just wants points. You can be both of those things and still want the best from your club. And I think that's where people are getting bogged down in an argument around, well, I want to be right about this. So, I'm going to say this and that's the only answer. And I'm going to say this and that's the right answer. They're both right. They're both right in their own respects. But at the end of the day, if Leeds get out of this division, that's the ultimate goal. But there was one comment that was made by Johnny Buchan that I really thought he's very, very close to figuring out what the issue is here. They were talking about it on Don't Go to Bed Just Yet. And Adam Pope was kind of defending that it's about the destination. Just get to the Premier League. That's what we want. And does it really matter if you get there? Like, does the performances really, really matter as long as Leeds get promoted? And then Johnny Buchan said, well, the journey is always better than the destination. And then you go back to, and not to compare the 2 teams between Bielsa and Farke, because they're very different teams. Bielsa's side had a value of 17 million quid. This team has a value of 75 million quid. They're different expectations. But the journey getting to the Premier League, although we had a stutter in the first year under Bielsa, we went from 15th 3 years in a row to playoff semi-final to automatic promoted as champions. So there was progression there and we moved forward each year. And the football was great. So the journey was actually quite fun. The destination was crap. When we got there, we knew the Premier League was going to be crap. And I think this time around, we also know that the destination already is going to be crap. Ipswich fans are saying it. Leicester fans are saying it. You were right. The destination isn't great. But the journey's not been a ton of fun right now. And I think that's where the issue is well, if the destination is not going to be great, at least try and enjoy the journey till we get there. And I think that's what's lacking at the moment. But it's down to personal preference. There's lots of people that will take a 1-0 win every single day of the week, and they're completely entitled to that opinion because 3 points is 3 points, and it's very hard to argue with that. There's other people that want a little bit more to their football and want to enjoy a bit more. And when the football is flowing in Ellen Road is rocking. And when it's a bit slower, not so much, because it does dictate your mood. You know, it really does.
100%. I think I contradict myself a lot on my videos saying I don't care about performances, but then actually I'm here annoyed by the performance, even though we've won the game. But I do think there is a sense of Daniel Farke has taken some of the freedom out of the players, maybe out of the sort of what the skills these players have, and they kind of saying, actually, let's cut all that out. Let's not do your flicky stuff like you done with Jorginho last year. Same that you talk about Guilavogui saying, I brought you on to sit in defence. Why are you chasing to go get a second goal? We're against bottom of the league QPR at home. It's kind of that thing where bit Southgate ball when it comes to Daniel Farke. But I saw a tweet from EFL today. It was funny because they said, who's the player of the season so far? What's been the goal of the season? Who's manager of the season? And I looked at that and thought, I couldn't put any Leeds things in that bracket. I don't think Daniel Farke has been manager of the season. I don't think we have a player of the season. And I don't necessarily think we've got a goal of the season so far. So if I could just have your opinion, who do you think genuinely has been Leeds' best player this year? Because I don't really know. Do you?
I think it's important that everything we're saying right now is caveated on the fact that this is based on 15 games of the season and not the entire season. So that's, saying that Leeds aren't the best side in the league right now based on the league position is based on where we are in the league right now. That can change in 5-6 weeks time. And then it's a different conversation every game because the metrics change. I think Farke has done a good enough job this year to keep us in contention. Like we are very much in there. And there's been a change of the squad. Other teams have had to go through that transition as well. Sunderland have had to go through it, so Sheffield United. So I think he's doing fine from a managerial perspective. I think there's still more levels to this team. I think he could loosen the reins a little bit more on them and let them go and be a bit more exciting, especially when teams have their back to the wall and the Leeds have got an early goal. Let them go. Let them go and get it. So from that perspective, I think he's doing fine. Player of the year, I mean, I think Pascal Struijk's been fantastic. Leeds have one of the best defenses in the league. As I said, we're joint, I think, third best defense in the league or second best defense in the league so far. But I think Pascal Struijk's been fantastic. His forward play as well, getting Leeds out, starting moves, he's been phenomenal. And Tanaka's been just enjoyable to watch in the middle of the park. He's been very, very good. Gives us slightly more than we had with Glenn Kamara, but still looks after the ball. And I quite like Joe Rothwell as well. It does burst and runs. I really like seeing him pick the ball up and just burst into the box with the ball. I love that. So they've been fine. Ramazani was really good before that, but then the injury kind of took a bit of the shine, slowed his momentum down a little bit. But I think probably Tanaka and Struijk have probably been the two standouts for me so far this year. They've been very good.
Yeah, no, I'd probably say Tanaka. I don't know if it was too early to chuck in a Tanaka shout, because I know obviously he's only played a certain amount of games, but he's, the impact that he's done. I say it in every video, he plays at his own pace. Literally, everyone else just slows down when he's got the ball, because he's saying.
Did you see the tweet? Where he stops time?
He stops time. Everyone around him just stops. And it's
Excellent
just,
stuff.
He's been brilliant. Like you said, the back line's been good. I think last year, it was just everyone had their eyes on Somerville and Rutter and things like that. I think I'm comparing maybe last year's team to this year's team. Maybe that's probably what I shouldn't do. And also, quick credit to Joel Piroe as well. He's the most frustrating player, but he scores goals. And he's the most natural goal scorer we've got in the club, maybe even in the league. Like the different type of finishes he has already brought this season.
Finish of the night was incredible. Outside of his left boot into the far corner.
Yeah.
Fantastic finish.
I think he deserves all the credit, because he's one of them players that I just want to do well. I want him to do really well. And he started scoring some goals. But I'm going to leave that there, because there's not too much. Like you said, we're only 15 games into a season. Maybe you should come back on the channel in a few weeks' time. We'll be saying the same things, or we'll be, I don't even know what we'll be saying in a few weeks' time. But thank you for coming on the Ollie Ward channel. Shout out yourself quickly. What you got going on the channel?
Daily news this week. So we've still managed to keep that going with the international break. We've had a review of our October in our live stream last night. That's out there. And we're going to do some stuff next week on the academy as well. So Jerry McDermott will be popping on to do an academy view stream as well to talk about the youths, because we've got some really impressive youths coming through. Reece Chadwick being one right now, he's averaging either a goal or an assist in every single game for the 21s, and he's 17 years of age. So there's some beauts down there as well. So we're just going to keep a track on them.
Nice one, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. I've been Ollie Ward. You guys have been excellent. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheery.